Good day, brothers and sisters. It's your brother Rams here, and I'm coming back to you with some more heavy knowledge to impart on my black, brown, red, yellow, and my Caucasian brothers and sisters. And my topic is going to be a very interesting topic, and it'll involve some religion, and it'll also involve science, and it'll involve anthropology and archaeology, and I'll define what those terms mean because a lot of people get confused over that. And like I said, I'm going to use some religious quote also to give you a good idea about who is the original man. But before I get started, brothers and sisters, I want to talk about some black history first because I got to talk about black history because this is what we must teach our children. Because right now there's a lot of misinformation given to black folks or whatever on our history, because it's a very rich history, and unfortunately the people trying to tell the narrative about our history other than us have no clue whatsoever about our history. So right now I'd like to talk about a quick happening that happened this week. It's a beautiful thing for black folks. Brought tears to my eyes to see this. And that was they opened up a King Tut museum in Egypt. They opened up a King Tut museum in Egypt. And man, it's spectacular. People come from all over the world to see this about King Tut. But I got to pull your hat, my black and brown and red and yellow, and especially my Caucasian brothers, about King Tut. See, first and foremost, when you think of Egypt, you're misled, brothers and sisters. You're misled about Egypt. American education makes you think Egypt is some faraway place that is not associated with anything, and it's just a society of their own. That can be no further from the truth than Timbuktu. Egypt, if you go to your globe or map in school, you will see where Egypt is. Egypt is in Africa. Let me say this again. Egypt is in Africa. Just like Zimbabwe, just like Ghana, just like Nigeria. They are all countries of Africa, and all those countries are Africans. So an Egyptian is an African, but the deception that is preached and taught here in America makes you believe Egypt has nothing to do with your black self. How could it not be? Egypt is part of Africa, and Egyptians are African. So let's get that clear right away. So what are you saying, Brother Rams? Egyptian King Tut was a black man. Oh, wait a minute, Brother Ram, he's supposed to be kind of like an olive-colored skin. No, he's not. He's from the original man. He's black. And man, you should see the museum and the stuff that King Tut had buried in his tomb. Black man. The brother had a gold coffin. That's our people, ain't we beautiful? We style up everything. Our coffin is made of gold. To show your rich history, brothers and sisters. That's your history. King Tut, when you see King Tut, that's a black man. Study him so you can understand your story. They say it's a fabulous place. And brothers and sisters, if you get a chance to get to Egypt, go try to get there to see King Tut's, the King Tut Museum. Very, very important. And plus, I want to say something that's very, very important. And it relates to the geography of where Egypt is. Egypt is bordered to the south by Sudan. Well, brother, what's Sudan got to do with this, Brother Ram? Because Sudan isn't its original name. What do you mean it's not its original name? The Sudan was not called the Sudan. It was renamed by the Caucasian cartographers. A cartographer is someone who draws maps. Is someone who draws maps. And to the south of Egypt is Sudan. But the name of the place wasn't called Sudan. Brothers and sisters, it was called Nubia. You heard of Nubia? The Nubian empires? Well, Egypt and Nubia ruled the world at one time. They share a rich, rich history together. Let me give you an example. Some of the Egyptians became kings and queens of Nubia. Some of the Egyptians became kings and queens of Nubia, and vice versa. Some of the Nubians became kings and queens of Egypt. They're intermixed, brothers and sisters. Study your damn history instead of sitting here accepting everything. Look it up. Brother, you seem a little fired. I got to get fired up when it comes to our history, because that's the problem. We got to know our story so we can have a proper education of self. Your history, brothers and sisters, so deep, good Lord. I told you your great-grandchildren's great-grandchildren, if they started reading Black history today, they'd only wind up reading one page. That's how heavy this is. So don't you let them fool you into thinking some Egyptian is some different person than a regular African. He's an African too. Dark, not olive colored. You know, one of the things that America does, you know what they do? They give you these false images through the media. You remember the Ten Commandments? One of the biggest lies ever told. The story that they showed on TV was a lie. Because the people playing it, those aren't the real people who played in it. They want you to believe in Egyptians, some kind of like olive-skinned type of, you know, what kind of, he got really straight hair. He's not really black featured. That couldn't be no further from the truth. You go to Egypt today, you see black folks like you seen anywhere else in Africa. You go to Sudan, you see black folks, don't you? But see, you only recognize them as poor little skinny people starving from famine. And unfortunately, their history is a great, rich history. And it saddens me when I see them starving. It saddens me, brothers and sisters, when I see them starving. And so I have to mention this thing about Black history before I get into my subject. But because I want you to understand, you come from kings and queens, brothers and sisters. And at one time, Egypt and Nubia ruled the world. Not just their area, they ruled the world. And guess where this museum's at? It's at the feet of the Great Pyramids. It's at the feet of the Great Pyramids. And I'm going to tell you one of the biggest pyramids in Egypt. It's called the Pyramid of Giza. Giza. The Pyramid of Giza. One of the largest pyramids ever made. But you know who commissioned to have it built? I got to pull your coat, brothers and sisters. This is your story. His name was the Pharaoh Khufu. Brother Ram, who? The Pharaoh Khufu. Look him up. Khufu. He had commissioned the Great Pyramid at Giza. King Tut, Khufu, all of our kings and queens coming from that area. And you got to teach our children this, because America will whitewash it, obliterate it, because our history is rich and they don't want you to know your story. But guess who was at that museum? That's what I found so funny. The place was filled with white people. because they want to know. They want to know the history of the original people. And so, like I said, in this Pyramid of Giza was built, or was commissioned. He didn't build it himself, but he commissioned it to be built. The Great Pyramid of Giza, and it was built by the Pharaoh Khufu. And King Tutankhamun is a black man. But man, even if you can't get there, look up the virtual stuff that they have online. See, that's what I'm telling you, black man and woman. You can see all this stuff. You ain't got to have a whole lot of money. So y'all think, well, I don't have a lot of money, so I can't study none of this. That's a daggone lie. Take the time and teach your children, man. Because America's not going to teach them. They're not going to give them a proper education. They can't. They cannot give our children a proper education. And again, what's a proper education? It's an education that teaches you about self. And you can't blame my Caucasian brothers, really. You can't really blame them because they just got on the earth. And the other side of it is that they don't know enough. They don't know enough. So they can't teach you something they don't know. That's what the problem is. That's why you as black parents must learn for yourself and teach your children who King Tut is. He wasn't some strange olive-colored white man. No, he was a black man, an African. And like I said, you see in our style, boy, that brother had a gold coffin. But shows you the technology of our people. And one of the technologies of our people is how to mummify. How to mummify and preserve the body. That's science. That's chemistry. I told you, black man, you were doing math and science and politics and history and economics long before there was any thought of a Caucasian. And that's no disparagement on my Caucasian brothers. It's just the order in which you came. You were the last on the earth. Now, you can take that or let it alone, but I'm telling you the truth, brothers and sisters. You can take that or let it alone. So I had to get some black history in there because I'm always going to preach black history because we got to teach our children. We must teach our children this, brothers and sisters. But right now, I'm going to pivot a little bit and I'm going to talk about who is the original man. Who is the original man? Why is that important? Oh, I'm going to start off with a little religious piece, my brothers and sisters, to give you an understanding of this. But I got to lay the groundwork. I can't teach and don't lay the groundwork, brothers and sisters, because you get confused. And I don't want to add to your confusion. I want to make it so simple that even a fool will understand what I'm saying. I want to make it so simple that even a fool can understand what I'm saying, brothers and sisters. And that's for all my brothers and sisters, black, brown, red, yellow, white, because they need to understand the history of the original man. Now I'm going to start off with a religious piece, and it comes from the New Testament. It comes from the New Testament, my Bible readers. So go to the New Testament and look up Acts 17:26. Acts in the New Testament 17:26. But what does it say, Brother Rams? It says, God made all nations from one man. God made all nations from one man. So they would inherit the whole earth. God made all nations from one man so they can go and inherit the earth. Stop right there. So the beginnings of civilization, the beginning of mankind came from one man. Uh-oh. I'm laying the groundwork, brothers and sisters, so you can get an understanding of what's going on. That you came from one man. I know we're going to get into some theories, but this is God's word, and God's word is the truth. God made all nations from one man so they would inherit the earth. That's important. That's in New Testament, Acts 17:26. That's very important to understand, my brothers and sisters. I got some notes. Of course, I got notes because I have to preach and give you valuable information. Okay? So I told you about Egypt, and now I'm telling you who is the original man. And when searching for the original man, there was a famous Caucasian. And see, now I'm saying this about my Caucasian brothers to let them know that this is verifiable, it's legitimate, because, like I said, sometimes my Caucasian brother, he's a skeptic when it comes to a man of color. He gets skeptical because he tells himself, first of all, he's only 3/5 of a human, and second of all, his knowledge is limited. But I beg your pardon, my Caucasian brothers. If you look at our history properly, you'll see we are the authors of education. Every subject known to man, the black man is a part of forming it because he's the first man on the earth. So let's get into the subject here of who is the original man. There was a famous Caucasian, and he was an archaeologist and an anthropologist. So these are terms: archaeologist, anthropologist. Brother, break it down. I'm going to tell you right now. Archaeology is the study of human history and prehistory by excavation of sites and the analysis of artifacts. It's the study of human history and prehistory through excavation of sites and analysis of artifacts. That's archaeology. The next word you'll hear is called anthropology. Remember, anything with ology, my brothers and sisters, means the study of. See, if you study the words of, sometimes they're big words, but if you break the word down, it can give you a meaning to what it means. And I'm going to show you that a little bit later. But brothers and sisters, this is anything ends with ology means the study of. So archaeology is the study of human history and prehistory. Anthropology now is the study of humankind, looking at what makes us human from our biological and cultural perspective through the lens of history, throughout the lens of history. Again, it's the study of humankind. Remember, ology, the study of anything. In this case, anthropology is the study of humankind, looking at what makes us human from our biological and cultural perspective throughout history. Archaeology, study of human history by excavating, looking at sites, looking at artifacts. That's important to understand. That's important to understand, my brothers and sisters. And then anthropology is the study of humankind. What makes us human? According to our biological and cultural perspective throughout history. So these are key words that you got to understand: archaeology and anthropology. Now I'm getting ready to talk about, like I said, a renowned Caucasian, and He's in your history books. But before I do that, I got to again lay some groundwork on some of the biology. Here comes science again. I got to put a little science in here so you can understand where I'm coming from. I'm an ex-teacher. Well, I don't say ex. I take that back, brothers and sisters. I'm not an ex-teacher. I keep teaching as long as I'm alive because you can't stop being a teacher because the thirst for knowledge is always there. So I'm feeding that thirst for knowledge to my people, all peoples, like I said, black, white, and everybody in between. Okay? But before we start again, I got to break some things down scientifically. Okay? There's this thing called taxonomy. Now, what's that, brother man? Taxonomy. A taxonomy is a way that we identify certain things. We identify certain things. And there is a pyramid. Now, this is what you got to visualize here, brothers, so you get the understanding of where your brother's at when it comes to classifying things in the world. Envision an upside down top. It's wide at the top. It's narrow at the bottom. It's wide at the top. It becomes narrow as you get to the bottom. What does that mean, brothers and sisters? It starts off with people and living things being in a general category, and then it gets very specific. Now, I'm going to give you the 7 levels of classification. Listen to your brother. The 7 levels of classification. The first level is called kingdom. That's at the very top. I'll give you some kingdoms now. This is the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, the protists, the fungi, the monarins. Those are just to name a few. I think there's one more, but those are the top ones. The monarins, the protists, the fungi, animal, and plant. They're at the very top. So that's a broad topic. That's a broad category. So the first one is kingdom. So we say they're a plant. They're also an animal. So they come in under kingdom. But the second one now, it starts to get smaller. It starts to narrow down. It's called phylum. Phylum. First one is kingdom. The second one is phylum. Now remember, it's like a top, upside down top. It starts wide and it gets closer and more narrow as you get to the bottom because it gets more specific. It gets more specific. The second one was phylum. The third one now is called class. We have kingdom, phylum, class, order, kingdom, phylum, class, order, and now the next one is family. They're in that family. Whatever it is, they're in that family. The next one, which the next two are very, very important, my brothers. They're very, very important. They are the genus and species. Let me run it back down again, brothers and sisters. Top is what? Kingdom. Second one is phylum. The third one is class. The fourth one is order. The fifth one is family. Now the sixth and seventh, genus and species, this is where you get your scientific name. And who came up with this system? There was a gentleman who was he was a Swedish biologist, physician, and he was a botanist. He was a Swedish biologist, physician and botanist. Botanist means you study plants. His name was Carolus Linnaeus. And he came up with this system called binomial nomenclature. Brother, that's a lot. I'll say it again. I'll say it again, brother, so you get the understanding here. So, like I said, when I finish with this, it'll be clear as the window in your house. He came up with this system, binomial nomenclature. What is that, brother? It's a system for naming each species a specific and unique. It's specific and unique two-part name. Binomial nomenclature. Carolus Linnaeus. Binomial nomenclature. Let's break the word down, brothers and sisters, because sometimes big old words sound, oh, Lord, I can't understand that. That's too much for me. If you break the word down, it'll be clear. Let's look at the first word. Binomial. Bi means what? Two. Bicycle, right? Two wheels. Bifurcate, split into two. Bisexual, both sides, two sides. Binomial. Bi, two. Nomial means name. It's a name. Two name system. Binomial nomenclature. What's nomenclature, Brother Rams? Nomenclature is a way of organizing things in a certain way. Okay? So we got to understand. I'm going to give you an example of binomial nomenclature. Remember, I got to go back and refresh your mind. It looks like an upside down top. It's very general at the top. But as you go down near the bottom, it becomes very specific. It becomes unique. And this is where the last two levels of the system of classification, genus and species, is where you get your scientific name. You get your scientific name from the last two names, the last two levels of system of classification. And I'll give you a very basic one that you know. The human is known as what? Homo sapien. Uh-oh. Yeah, I've heard of that, brother. Yeah, you heard of it. But that name comes from the last two levels on the system of classification. The genus is Homo. The genus is Homo. And the species is sapiens. So the human's now Homo sapien. And he's very unique. Because now once you get to the bottom, it becomes specific only to that species. The characteristics are specific to that species and that species only. Usually they could have some similarities, and we're going to talk about that, but they're not the same. And that's what we got to understand, brothers and sisters. So before I get into talking about Dr. Leakey, I got to lay the groundwork for the system of classification. 7 levels. I'll name them again. Kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Those are the 7 levels of classification. Who came up with this thing with the binomial nomenclature? A Swedish doctor and physician, physician and botanist. He was a physician, a botanist, and a biologist, of course. and his name was Carolus Linnaeus. He came with the binomial nomenclature, and that's what gave you your scientific name. And that name is usually in Latin. The name is usually in Latin. So if you got a good command of Latin, you can really figure out what something is. So that's what I'm saying to you, brothers and sisters. So now we're going to turn our attention to Dr. Leakey. He's an archaeologist and an anthropologist. He's an archaeologist and an anthropologist, my brothers and sisters. Let me give you some background on our brother, Dr. Leakey. First, he was born of British missionary parents. That means his parents come from Great Britain and they're doing missionary work. But guess where they were doing it at? In Africa. Uh-oh. They were doing their missionary work in Africa. His parents, Dr. Louis Leakey, his parents were doing missionary work in Africa. As a young child, he spent his youth with the Kikuyu, people of Kenya. He grew up with the Kikuyu, people of Kenya. But his roots are Great Britain. I'm going to bring that up a little bit. He was an archaeologist and an anthropologist. In 1931, keep hold of the date, brothers and sisters. In 1931, he began his research in a country called Tanzania. Where's Tanzania, brother? It's in Africa. My Caucasian brothers, one of the leading archaeologists and anthropologists, world renowned. When he goes looking for the original man, where does he go? He goes into Africa. He goes into Africa, brothers and sisters. That's important to understand. That's very important to understand. In 1959, he discovers this fossil. And he gave the fossil a name. Before he gave it a name, he looked at it and it appeared to be about 1.7 million years old. Good God. Good God. He discovered this fossil. It was what is called a homonym. But the root is homonym. A homonym. And a homonym, basically, they're saying is hold on a second, brother. Is a homonym is that he's linked. He has human linkage. Human lineage, brother. Sorry about that. Sometimes, I'm taking my notes, but I got to lay it out truthfully. He was called a homonym, this fossil he found in 1959. And it had human lineage. This fossil he found, 1959, that was 1.7 million years old. Human fossil. But he gave that fossil a name. Brother, what name did he give it? He called that fossil that was had human lineage. He named it Zinjanthropus. Uh-oh. Zinjanthropus? Brothers and sisters, I need you to to really open up your mind here, because you got to understand something here. This is heavy here, because this is something. This is something, man. He found a human fossil, and he named it Zinjanthropus. Brother Rams, break that down. I'm going to break it down for you, baby. So, like I told you, so even a fifth grader could understand what I'm talking about. I don't try to confuse you with a whole bunch of big words. If I got a bunch of big words, I break the word down. Because I don't want no confusion. I want you to get a proper education of your history and who you are as the original people. Understand what I'm saying, brothers and sisters. That's important. Zinjanthropus. But who was Dr. Leakey? We got to now look at the time period, brothers and sisters. We got to look at the time period, because that's very important. It's very, very important that we looked at that. Leakey, now this is key. This is very key. Leakey held various major appointments at British and American universities. Hold up. Leakey, Dr. Louis Leakey, held many major appointments at British and American universities. Now, at the time, Britain was a great power. It was a great power. And America was coming into power. And so, unfortunately, what Leakey did was he thought the Zinjanthropus, get this is all tied into that. The Zinjanthropus really was not a descendant of modern man. He's not really a descendant of modern man, even though his research had proved that he was. He had human lineage. So why did he change up, Brother Rams? Let's look at the time frame. 1945 to 1961. Man, white racism, white supremacy was running rampant, brothers and sisters. Can you imagine what if he had done now if he came out and told you the original people were black? Think about that. So he had to contradict his own work. You didn't hear what I said. He had to contradict his own work to appease the white supremacists. Just imagine back in 1945, 1957, 1951, you saying the original man is a black man, Zinjanthropus, Zinj meaning African, which means black. Because if you Zinj or Sinj, you turn it what? Black. So the original man is a black man. Now, wait a minute, brother man. You saying the black man's the original man? Yes, I am. And that's not his, that's only part of his name. What's his full name, Brother Rams? He's called the Asiatic Black Man. That's their name. He's not a Negro. He's not colored. He's not African American. He's the Asiatic Black Man. How significant is that, brother? Tie it on in. I'm going to tie it in. He's the Asiatic Black Man. What happened to you in slavery? What happened? They took your name. They took your language. They took your culture. They took your family. But the heavy part is they took your religion. And if you ask my Caucasian brother, what's the religion of the original man? My Caucasian brothers and them can't tell you. Because they just thought you was running through the jungle with a bone in your nose, chucking spears. Crazy. because they lack knowledge themselves. They lack proper knowledge. But it's imperative that we give our children the proper knowledge. So understand that. Zinjanthropus was 1.7 million years old, and he had a mother. 1.7 million years old, and he had a mother. He didn't just pop out the damn sky. He had a mother. So how old was she? Do you understand what I'm saying to you, brothers and sisters? Dr. Louis Leakey, when he went searching for the original man, he searched in Africa. I'm sorry, my Caucasian brothers, he didn't go to Europe. Sorry, my Native American brothers, he didn't go to didn't come to America. He didn't go to South America. Because once the black man came on the earth, he traveled the whole earth. Remember Acts 17:26? So the nations would inhabit the whole earth. So the nations would inhabit the whole earth. That's what he made them. One man. That one man was Zinjanthropus. Black man. Now you can take what I said and let it alone, but the science bears me witness. He's the Asiatic black man. That's his proper name. So when you teach your children, you say you ain't no African American. Why? Because you were black man before Africa was conquered by Scipio Africanus, the Italian Scipio Africanus, and he named Africa. You're not American. You was an Asiatic black man before it was Amerigo Vespucci. Amerigo Vespucci. You were already here. Asiatic black man. But remember, they took our families. They took our culture. They took our name. They took our language. They took our culture and obliterated it. So they thought. But God is so good. Because you know why? Because he didn't let you destroy all of us. There's always some around us that know the truth. And what you're looking at here in Brother Rams is a brother that knows his history and he knows the history of the Caucasian. And this is what I say. Why you call the Asiatic black man? Because Asia is the part of the world you came from. But why you call black? And so I've heard some people say, well, if you really look at your skin, they don't look really black to me. You're brown. You're not called black because that's the color of your skin. You're called black because from you all color comes. Let me say that again. You're not called black because that's the actual color of your skin. You're called black because from you all colors come. That's part of Acts 17:26. From one man. From one man, brothers and sisters, God said what? He said, from one man, he created nations that will inherit the whole earth. And it came from the Asiatic black man. That's why he's called black. He's not called black because that's the color of his skin. He's called black because from him all color comes. His genes, now I'm going into some genetics. His genes are dominant over every race of people here on the earth. Now, I'm not talking no black supremacy, because some of my brothers and sisters, some uncles and some aunties, and some of my Caucasian brothers will say he's like the reverse white supremacist. No, I'm not. I'm speaking fact, baby. That supremacy is just a subjective ideology. This is fact I'm talking about. The original people are the Asiatic black people. And like I said, you could take it or let it alone, but science bears me witness. His genes are dominant over every other race's genes. And I say the word dominant to again go into my one of the Caucasians who's very good at genetics, and that's Mendel, Gregor Mendel. He was a white geneticist, and that's important for you to understand. He was a white geneticist, and he said that the dominant, inside the dominant, you can get the recessive. But the recessive is the gene that is hidden. You can't see it. It's there, but you can't see it because it's dominated by the dominant gene. And that's why the black man's genes are genetically dominant over every race of peoples on this earth. Not to say black supremacy is just a fact. That's where you come from. So, Brother Rams, are you saying that all humanity came from the original man? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Again, you could take it or let it alone, but biology and genetic bears me witness. So you can dispute it all you want, but it doesn't hide the facts. And the fact of the matter is very simple. The black man is the original man. He's known as the Asiatic black man. That's his name. That's what he's called. His proper name is called the Asiatic black man. So I say that to you, my brothers and sisters, not, again, to try to disparage my Caucasian or my red brother, my brown brother. No, it's important that you know who the original people are from whence you came. From whence you came. That's that same person that your U.S. Constitution calls 3/5 of a human. Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3, 3/5 of a human, the original man. How dare you, damn it? If it wasn't for us, you wouldn't be here. But you're going to dehumanize us? Can't do it, brothers and sisters. You can't do it. And that's why that must be taken out the Constitution. That's why I'm no great Constitution fan. Because as long as that clause is in there, I have a lot of issues with that. I have a lot of issues with that. And rightfully so. I'm a black man. I know my history. I can't be called 60% human. Who the hell died and made you the one that determined my humanity? And God is the one who determined that, because he made me the first human. So if I'm subhuman, then everybody who came after me is subhuman. And you must understand these things, brothers and sisters. But again, who is the original man? The Asiatic black man. He's the Asiatic black man, brothers and sisters. And that's something I want you to all understand. So we must teach our children this knowledge. We must teach our children this knowledge so they can feel proud of who they are. But again, this isn't just for black children. It's got to be for all the children, because they got to understand their origin. You remember? The root word of original is origin. The root word of original is origin. And from the black man, all the races flow, according to the New Testament, Acts 17:26. That's very, very important, brothers and sisters. You know, because God made all nations from one man so they could inherit the whole earth. So my Caucasian brothers, I got to kind of dispel for you. You think you originated out of an ape. Couldn't be no further than the truth. You and the ape share similarities until you get to the bottom of the system of classification. He might be Homo, but his species ain't the same as yours. And therein lies the difference. So it's a theory. Darwin's theory of evolution. It's a theory. I mean, it's not backed. It's some kind of conclusion, not necessarily, but it's an opinion based on certain elements. But it's not conclusive. It's just a theory. And I'll tell you that right now. That's a bunch of hogwash because they still got it, y'all. Take it out. Check it out. Go to the biology books, and it shows you an ape walking, and then it turns into a white man. Boy, they still got that foolishness in the books. Every time I see it, I just shake my head and say, good God Almighty, what are they teaching these poor children? What are they teaching these poor children? That they came from an ape. You ain't come from no damn ape. You came from a man. Who was the man? Zinjanthropus. Black man. But remember, white supremacy was, Leakey was in a quandary, brothers and sisters. You can't imagine the quandary if he came out and said, let me tell you all, white supremacists and white nationalists, that the original man is black. I named him Zinjanthropus. He's African. Can you imagine what the white power structure would have did to him? Remember, he holds all kind of major appointments at British and American universities. Had all kind of influence on magazines, everything, brothers and sisters. Who is the original man? And that's the question that I've tried to answer. He's the Asiatic black man. That's the answer. And he's called black because from him all colors came. And his genes are genetically dominant over every race of people because they were the first genes. Then you came with the other brown man. Then you came with the red man. Then you came with the yellow man. And then finally, here comes the Caucasian. And one day I'll tell you where he came from as well. How he got into the caves and hillsides of Northern Europe, from whence he came out of. I'll tell you the history of the Caucasian, where he came from. Because I'm sure he want to know, because I'm telling you now, my Caucasian brothers and sisters, you didn't evolve from an ape. No, you did not. You didn't. You and the ape share certain similarities as you go down the 7 levels of classification. You share similar, there's the word, not same, similar characteristics till you get to the bottom, when it becomes very unique and very specific. When it came to giving you your genus and your species, it's very specific. The human is Homo sapien. The gorilla is not. The ape is not. So brothers and sisters, don't be fooled by that foolishness. And you see that in your biology book. You said that ain't true. That's a theory by Darwin. But God's word disproves that. You didn't come from no ape. You don't see nowhere in the Holy Book saying you came from another animal. He created you as a human. So daggone it, don't be fooled with that foolishness. And that's why I'm here telling you this very day. I'm telling you this, brothers and sisters, it's important. It's very important that we learn this, that we're the original people. Not to say it in a bragging, haughty spirit, but said with the deepest humility, that here you are, you've tried to destroy the original people. You try to destroy the original people because you have a hatred for them. But you don't even understand why you have a hatred for them. You don't even understand why. So I just want to pivot just a teeny bit here because it is government shutdown, and it's really affecting the air traffic controllers. My heart bleeds for them. They got to find a way to make it meet, to make ends meet and make things work. I'm gonna tell you what I would do if I was the air traffic controllers. If you all don't want to negotiate and get this thing together, we're gonna call a wildcat strike. Nobody go to work today. Shut America down. Since they want everything shut down, let's shut it down. And let's see what happens then as we approach Thanksgiving. Everybody call in sick. And I guarantee you they'll come scurrying back to the bargaining table. But part of the reason why Mike Johnson don't want to come back, because now he'll have to swear in that woman, and they're going to require him to let out the Epstein files. That's the real reason why they shut down. They ain't been to work in over a month, but getting paid. Waste and fraud, abuse, getting paid, they ain't doing any work. SNAP programs. There's a sister in Detroit, which brings me to Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. When I saw her pause the reinstatement of those SNAP funds, tears came to my eyes. They came to my eyes because you see how many women and babies are struggling. And particularly, there's a story. Her name was Simone. I think her name was Simone Wilkes, and she was out of Detroit. Touched my heart. If you see a tear come to my eyes, it's all right, brothers and sisters, because she's a black woman and it shouldn't have to. And she's telling me how she was saying how she fed the children and she would just drink water. In America, 2025, and Sister Ketanji Brown, why would you pause giving them funds back to the people? They've already been allocated, sister. You don't need to give them time. Just give the money up. She's a black woman like you are, Miss Your Honor. She's a black woman like you are. She got kids. And like a typical black woman, she gonna make sure her babies eat. Because that's human nature, baby. Don't matter black, white, brown. They gonna make sure their babies eat. They'll go hungry. They'll go hungry. They'll go hungry before they mess up. Before they allow their babies to not have anything. And that's important. That's important to understand, brothers and sisters. It's important to understand. You know, it's important to understand because why would you see the babies hungry? Remember, sister, you was a sister before you was a judge. You were a black woman before you were a judge. And I don't see why you would help this administration delay the funds for these babies. So, brothers and sisters, like I said, we just need clearer heads here to come to negotiating table. But if I was the air traffic controllers, wildcat strike. One day, nobody go to work and shut it down. And tell them, we're not going to keep working for free. We're not. I got families, man. I got bills. I got mortgage. And you all still getting paid? What's wrong with that picture? Well, that's the law and all. Law? You got a president that don't give a damn about the law. He want to see the babies starve. Why would you hold the money back? Why would you hold the money back, brothers and sisters? Because that's evil. It opposes God. So I always say this to you, brothers and sisters. What does your holy book say about the one who opposes God, who opposes God's truth, who wouldn't care if babies ate or not, long as he can entertain his rich friends? Please, my sister, Your Honor, and I come to you respectfully and honorably. Please don't be part of that foolishness, because there's a true and living God looking at all of us. And you had a chance to stop that foolishness, but you added to it. If you get a chance to help correct it, God will bless you, sister. Don't contribute to that foolishness. Because remember, as I said, you were a black woman before you were a Supreme Court judge. And if you look at that woman in Detroit, and like so many others, poor white folks too, because it's affecting all of us. See, starving don't care whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, or independent. Starving is starving, baby. When there's nothing to eat, it don't matter what your political affiliation is. Feed them babies, man. We're in America, damn it. We can't feed the babies because we got some wicked, evil, mischief maker in the White House? Evil, pure evil, that he would let little babies starve. So, my brothers and sisters, like I said, this fires me up, but I know there's a true and living God, and He's here. I see His wonder every single day. And like my brother Al Sharpton said, we've been through worse, black people. You survived one of the worst forms of slavery ever put upon a people, and you're still here. That's a testament to your greatness because you're the original people. And that's why your brother's pulling your hat. But I'm just giving a little advertisement here before I sign off for the day. If you want to see me or hear or make comments, I usually post something around Sunday, Monday of every week. This week is Who is the Original Man? So my brothers and sisters, you can look for me either Sunday or Monday, and you can get the latest lowdown, what's going on, what's happening, as your brother tries to make sense of all this foolishness. But before I close this session off, I just want to say this. Pray to the living God. He's here. He needs your prayer. You need him. So pray to him. Be safe. Love your family. Love God first. Love your family. Love your friends. So again, brothers and sisters, keep safe, and I will see you next week, same time, same channel. And again, God is great. Thank you.